is the big O.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Sports Talk 305 network is back. It's time to talk Miami Dolphins football with the greatest fan base in the world. EJDconstruction.com is fully insured, liability and workers' comp. Call Eric if you need a custom home builder or general contractor. 305-433-4843. This is the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame show on the Sports Talk 305 network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Here's your host, the Big O.
Lord. This is not the end of the world, but it's absolutely sucks. That's all I can tell you. It's a night of major suckage, a night where Mike McDaniel continues to prove that he is, I think he's Cuban. Because we are some hard-headed mofos. And the fact that he will not dedicate to the run is absolutely, it's baffling at this point, you know? I know we're ready to bash Tua. He sucked today. He was part of the problem, not the solution. Now, he wasn't the whole issue. Obviously, there was a lot of things that went wrong. Just like Chubb getting the good play at the end, he had the bad play at the beginning. And you had your Eichenberg bad snap, and you have Waddle that can't run right routes. That at least he didn't drop passes this week, but this week he ran two wrong routes. Chan slows down on a perfect thrown bomb. It was bad all around. Fangio, he doesn't pressure Will Levis. Just play that prevent defense. Brother, you're going up against a young quarterback. Go after him. If you give him time, he's actually got some skills. They actually got something in Will Levis. He's actually shown something the last couple of weeks. You know, and he's tough as nails, too, because he took a beating early on from the Dolphins. And bottom line, Mike Vrabel got Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio and bitch slap both of them tonight. Okay? bitch slapped both tonight. Yeah, brother, I can blame a lot of shit on the players today. I mean, from Tua to all kinds of stuff that went on today. Okay? And go look at the end. They're offsides on every other play of the Tennessee Titans, and they never call it. I tweeted out pictures. Obvious was right there, and nothing called. But that's kind of the way it goes. Now, Cedric Wilson didn't make that catch. He made the catch, but it wasn't inbounds. And we got that break too, right? So bad officiating is everywhere. Okay. Tonight was, one of the things we were happy about with the Dolphins was they weren't losing to the bad teams. Well, we can't even say that now. So now you lost to the bad teams and you can't beat the good teams. So now, now all panic's going to set in. Everything's going to go to hell. All of that kind of crap. Tua sucks. Fire Greer. Fangio's overrated. McDaniel's an idiot. I get it. I get where we're going tonight. I get that that's the case. It's a bad night. It is what it is. But everybody was a disaster. And part of Tua's failures are that his head coach is too smart to a point that he's stupid. Okay? Let's just they can't say this even on QAM. They can't say this. They can't certainly say it wherever they're at now, whatever that thing is called. Okay? They can't say anything, but McDaniel's so smart, he's stupid. He's so smart that he stupidly puts his offense on a consistent basis behind the eight ball. And I understood when Shula and Marino didn't stick to the run. Okay? Young people, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay? But that, sometimes there were moments that Davenport or Nathan or Higgs or whatever, mediocre to average back was back there. There were a couple moments where it was working. And then they kind of went away from it. But then we had the excuse. It wasn't a run blocking offensive line. You didn't have explosive running backs. So, oh man, it's Marino. Hey, let's stick to Dan. Let's ride Dan. Right? So it made sense to ride Dan. You got it? You got Jay. Well, you got to try to stick to the run if you can. You know what I'm saying? But here, you actually have a running game that works. It's pretty interesting. This is a running game that works. And we're kind of not really used to that. It only happens every once in a while. Oh, here comes a Lamar Smith year. A couple of Ricky Williams years. We sneak in a Jay Ajayi year. You know what I'm saying? Once in a while, there's something that happens, and we're excited about the run. But this run actually works. It works with different backs. It works in different ways. So then why not keep using it? Why not set up your pass even better? What do you think they do in San Francisco? Do you think they just sit back and allow Purdy to just wham, 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 just throw it all over? No, they've got a run game. And I got to tell you something. Mike McDaniel is a lot like I am. Yeah, let me tell you. Mike McDaniel and his run game is like I am with Gran Biff. In Spanish, we call it picadillo. So let me tell you something. I had so much picadillo when I was a kid that it just came out of my ears and everything. It's a ground beef that, Spanish in Spanish cultures, it's cheap, dude. Chicken and ground beef, it's kind of what you're feeding your kids. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. So it's affordable meat. And I ate a lot of that affordable meat when I was a kid. Nowadays, I rarely eat ground beef. because I am tortured, and like it comes back to haunt me from when I was a kid. Like, bro, I ate so much ground beef in my life that I in my young age that I just no, give me a steak, give me chicken, give me turkey, give me veal, don't give me ground beef, bro. You know what I mean? I don't even get ground beef with my fucking tacos, okay? Seriously, I'm not joking about this. So Mike McDaniel, he was a run coordinator. I cracked the safe. I got there and I listened in. I figured it out. And so he was a run coordinator. He hates being a run coordinator. Every time he has to call a run, it reminds him of being a run coordinator. Every time I get ground beef, it reminds me of when I was a kid. No more ground beef. I don't want no more. No more picadillo. For my Anglo friends, that's the ground beef. And so that I figured it out. Mike McDaniel hates to run because it reminds him of being a run coordinator when he's a head coach now. So I don't know what we're going to do. I think one of you out there is going to have to kidnap Mike McDaniel, hypnotize him, remind him, run, run, run. On one drive, Waddle gets the 7 yards, it's 2nd and 3rd, and he gets cute. You know, towards the end of the half, same thing. He had a 10, 11, and a 4-yard run, then started passing the ball, getting cute. And it's just, you don't have that offense. So you can't do that kind of stuff where you can just unleash the ball 50 straight times. You don't have him. Okay? When you have him, you can take your chances and just say, F the run. But when you have normal quarterbacks, which that's what Tua is, like a normal quarterback, you got to run the ball. Compliment the man. We give you props. Not you, I'm saying props. We give you props here. You know what I mean? Because we're actually like media that actually gives a shit about the team. Anyway. So really, bottom line today was one of those days where you're just kind of disappointed overall about everything. Those of you that have your Tua agendas, of course, you're going to lean it on Tua, and you're going to forget that A-Chain didn't slow down on the bomb, right? You're going to forget that Durham Smythe should have caught the pass. You're going to forget that the coach calls shitty plays and puts his quarterback in terrible situations on a consistent basis. All of those kind of things, you know, you'll leave out the the Eichenberg bad snap that you're right there in the red zone. All of those kind of things, the block field goal, all those things, you'll forget that because you have your agenda, and that's fine, dude. Whatever, you know, sick, twisted thing you have against the kid, go ahead, whatever. If you want him to be that, that's not what he is. That's not what he is. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So if you're trying to make it more than what it is, no. But if you're going to make it what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be coaching and playing and all of that. Fangio, he didn't pressure this kid. So they're catching up on your ass. And that last drive, you're just sitting back like Tom Olividati. You're sitting back, and a friend of mine says, I hate the prevent defense. You know, because that's those are nightmares, you know, from days past. You know? I get all of that. I understand. But you can do whatever you want. If you want to get all crazy about this shit, it was a terrible night for everybody. Bradley Chubb did a dumbass play. Cost the team. You know? It's just there's a reason why it's a team game. I get it. When you have an agenda, you think that one person's going to carry the entire, you know, game. And unfortunately, that's just not the way, you know, that's not the way it goes. So Tua had a bad day today. the defense was, oh my God. The defense was terrible today. Absolutely terrible. And especially when you needed the defense the most, they failed every single time, bro. Every single time the defense failed. I mean, they did allow the 28 points, right? So, it's pretty bad. It's just unfortunate, man. It really is unfortunate. It's a night where now you put yourself behind the 8 ball. Now you've given yourself less room for error if you want to get home field advantage. And you finally lost a game that you weren't supposed to lose. And then we have, on top of all of that, Jalen Waddle gets banged up. Hell of a throw, by the way, by Tua. Wow, that was a fantastic throw. He put a couple of guys there where it was they took some hits today. Obviously, Tyreek is not himself. He's at the podium now. Let's see. Tyreek says we have to correct our errors and move on. We can't make mistakes and turn over the ball. We need to be better in the red zone. We've got to be great leaders. We have to take accountability and fix it. Okay. And then he says, I feel like we were able to move the ball pretty quick. With the great leaders we have on this team, I think we'll be fine. Well, I think they'll be fine too, but you still got to do it. You still got to do it. So you've got all the injuries. You got the Connor Williams injury, which I don't know how serious it is. We'll find out how serious it is. See if there's any news. I know that that Omar put out some kind of a panic type article there, but I don't think there was any. Was there any facts, little facts behind it? I'm not exactly sure. I didn't read it, but I know you guys were telling me something like that he assuming or thinking. So I don't know how it is. Yeah, they do need Javon Holland back, Rob. I see that there as I look over to the chat board. And remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, do me a favor, Sean. Get the yeah, you've already got the super chats ready. Let me see here a second. Matthew Toffler, thank you. Bitcoin donation for putting it all in perspective. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you as always. Stephen M, thank you for the Bitcoin donation for some Bitcoin for that AVG performance. Okay, that appreciate that. I think that was from last week. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? Peter German on Venmo. Horrible, horrible loss. We will never win big with this team if we can't get the play calling quickly. Oh, yeah. Dude, on the first play, you don't run. You throw out a screen pass, which was just snuffed out right away. And then on second down, you can't get the play call in, and you have to use a timeout. Which, again, with McDaniel, this is consistent shit. Like, you're stupid about the run, and there's no other way I can phrase it anymore. It's incredible ignorance that McDaniel's using with the run. It's mind-boggling dumb what McDaniel does by avoiding the run. Okay, and then you follow it up with the you can't get the play call in time. Like, what the hell is going on, dude? That's terrible coaching. Let's see. And yeah, and abandon the run every time inside the 5. Fangio awful, not blanketing Hopkins. Yeah, I didn't understand that whole shit with Hopkins. Anthony Lizzie, thank you for the love on Venmo, sir. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. We say that because we get 100% of the donation on Cash App or Venmo, whereas YouTube takes away 30%. That's why we say it. Anthony Lizzie, the game was vintage Dolphins post Marino. Special teams error, untimely and costly penalties, poorest defense, and O-line play when needed most. Yep. And let me tell you something. The special teams, that's one mistake. I don't know why McDaniel did not want to make changes there, but the coach, the kicker, the punter, the whole shit's got to change. The whole shit's got to change. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I love this organization, where they're going and what direction. I'm not going to go crazy about this loss. It's terrible and all that. But in the macro of it, I love what's going on with the Dolphins. So I'm not going to overreact about the whole thing like this is a big picture thing. But I'll tell you something big picture. Okay? Your special teams coordinator sucks. Your kicker sucks. And your punter sucks. Okay? And there's no other way around that. There's no arguments here. There's no discussions here. None of those three are worthy of being on the team. So blow that shit out the door at the end of this year. We're going to have to live with it because it is what it is. You are where you are. You are where you are right now, but you can't do anything about it. You know? Joel Delgadillo. Thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Disappointed, but defense hurt us. Yeah. Yeah, no, the defense was the defense lost this game more than anything else. More than McDaniel and Tua, the defense and Fangio were despicable today. Okay? They were grossly underperforming today. The defense for the Miami Dolphins. It's a bad game overall, dude. Nobody can say they had a great game here today. You know, a couple individual players maybe, but then you can find some negatives for almost anybody out there. It was not a good game, man. For nobody. For Tua, for all you Tua haters, for everything. You know, but I'm not going to make it sound like this is all, Tua's fault or anything like that. That's ignorant. There's a lot of things that were wrong with this team, but coaching, when Tyreek talks about leadership, I think your generals failed the Army. That's what I think today. More than anything, McDaniel and Fangio lost this game. I lay most of the blame on them because they failed their players. The Sealer play is individual. The Cedric Wilson play is individual. It's I'm not looking at like you got Vrabel and staff and you were kind of out coaching them in that first drive, and then they kind of settled down and were like, yeah, no more, and then they kind of clamped it down and didn't allow you to do the same kind of stuff that you were doing. You got away with some stuff, but you couldn't string it along like you could. But then again, you were your own worst enemy because you could run on them and you refused to maintain the run, which again, poor coaching by Mike McDaniel. Great coaching by Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel proved why he is a superior coach, why he is an elite coach in this league. Okay? First road win for them, all of that, but this was an embarrassment for the Miami Dolphins on national television. And that I hope those players have some scruples, but more than anything, I hope the coaches go and apologize to all those players because they failed them. They didn't put them in positions to be successful on a consistent basis. How you did not go after Will Levis towards the end of that game when they started moving the ball and you just sat back and allowed them to get everything underneath, it was so unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. All right, let's start off with the super chats. The Nautical Hippo. That's so Dolphins, yeah? You know what? They deserve that. Even though I believe this team doesn't resemble anything of those kind of teams, they deserve it. Just like what happened with Buffalo with the 28-point loss. This was bullshit today, bro. Absolute bullshit by Mike McDaniel, by Vic Fangio, by this entire team. Horseshit. Absolute horseshit by this team today. They deserve all the criticism today. Everything. Is it the season or anything like that? No. But they played like crap today. They had a chance. Dude, I have no water here. Do me a favor. Give me 60 seconds, Sean. I got to get some fucking water. 60 seconds. Back with the rest of the postgame show.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame show on the Sports Talk 305 network. Here's your host, Orlando Alzugari.
Hard to do a broadcast without this. It really is. Really is. God. All right. Now, let's get to it. What do we got, Sean? P. Hillis. Same old shit. Dolphins, I hate this. Oh, come on, bro. I mean, you'll be fine. You'll be all right next week when they kick the Jets' ass. Next up. DJ Gallagher, merch store ideas. Give him Picadillo McDaniel. Here you go. Yeah. Picadillo McDaniel. All right. No doubt. 14-point lead blown with 4 minutes. This is on a D every day. Haters out tonight. Oh, it's all over. Yeah, I know. No, the defense lost this game more than anything else. The defense was absolutely pathetic tonight. Next up, what do we got? Man of 1,005 holds. Very disappointed loss. Two on that offense looked like Flores' offense. McDaniel looked lost. Hopefully they get it together. Dumb Chubb. Yeah, no, the Chubb play was stupid. I mean, it was a team loss, guys and ladies and gentlemen out there. It was a team loss. To blame it on one person is ridiculous. I'm telling you. But the coaches, more than anything, failed this team today. All right, next up. Thank you, man of 1,005 holds. Sam Cavison, thank you, sir. I'm glad we just don't have to play the Titans defense again. They won their Super Bowl tonight, and our O-line with this Eichenberg guy keeps making mistakes, snapping the ball. Yeah, it's one of those where you don't do it all the time. And then you're playing guard and you're playing center, and it's tough for the guy. And he have a hold today? There was another one that was reversed. He had a bad day today. You know what I mean? He had a bad day today. I can't defend. Although he had some good blocks. If you watch, he actually had some good blocks. I know he made some mistakes, but he actually had some good blocks. If they actually would use him more in the run game, McDaniel. Anyway, next up, sir, in the super chats here, True Fin fan, any question as to who is the MVP on this team? Oh, Tyreek, you're saying? I don't have a problem with Tua or Tyreek or whatever it is. If it's a Dolphin that wins the MVP, who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I love Tua. You can win a Super Bowl easily with Tua, but your coach has to be smart too. You can't do things to players and put them in positions that will put them to fail. And that's the problem sometimes with McDaniel. He's not complimenting Tua the right way at times, or any QB that you would have in that position, unless we're talking about a freak. And there are very few of those guys that you could just leave in there to sling it 50 times. What is it, Mahomes? And what other guy can you trust to go out there and sling it 50 times? There's not a lot of them. I'm trying to think right now. Like, how many of those kind of guys are there? You know, they don't have Purdy do that. They don't have Jalen Hurts do that. And there's not really a lot of those guys. Some of you are a little older, and I think you're programmed to think that the Warren Moon and the Jim Kellys and the Dan Marino type football, that shit doesn't exist. Oh, Burrow. Burrow's one of those guys that I could trust throwing it 40, 50 times. There aren't a lot of those guys. There's only, a couple. We don't have one of those guys. That's not what you do with a good quarterback, but not like somebody like. Okay. I think some of you have a problem with defining what a quarterback is, thinking what you expect out of a quarterback, what you think. It's sometimes like with the Tua haters, right? Or the ones that really don't get it, don't understand it. You almost think like everybody else has got like Joe Burrow, and there's only a couple of those guys. And by the way, Joe Burrow ends up missing more games than Tua Tagovailoa now. I mean, it just kind of it's so easy to throw things and throw somebody under the bus, but if you really take a step back, I love how people make it sound like you can go get another one. And you haven't found one since Marino. And it's incredibly ignorant if you think that this game was on him solely. He didn't play well. I'll tell you that. Now, he made some plays that it would have, helped out if Eichenberg doesn't have a bad snap, if Achan, actually runs out the route. Who knows what happens on that play? A lot of things, maybe if you don't get a field goal missed, you lost by one. There's a lot of things that happen that, it's things like that. You can say whatever you want. If you're not very smart, I can't help you. All right, what's next? Who's next on the super chat? Ty the Kid, the only good thing Tua did was no picks. Exactly. Thank you. Next up, Jick CA says, run the ball in the red zone. Definitely made Levis look like a champ. Hey, bro, defense made Levis look like a Super Bowl contender. Go ahead. Next up. Defense was horrible today, bro. They were disgusting today. Garrett McCaffrey Jr. on offense, the backs ran hard. That's about it. Well, when they gave him a chance. Thank you, Garrett. Next up. Brad Means, I'm sick to my stomach. Inept coaching on both sides. It's a December nightmare again. I'm not confident we are better than the 1-4 the rest of the way. Well, time will prove that. We'll see next week, right? You're supposed to win next week. Let's see if you take care of business, and then comes the difficult games. And then we'll see how you respond to the Ravens and to the Cowboys and to the Bills. I'll panic when there's time to panic. But right now, I mean, everybody loses to bad teams. These guys had a terrible game today, and the coaches were the worst. Next up, what do we got? 80 dances, Big O, December collapses, 30 years, can't take it. If Tua's not special, has no fire, going to be sick. Paul in Connecticut. What's the no fire? What's that? What's that bullshit? What's no fire? I don't know. What's no fire? Jalen Hurts is a cigar store mannequin. What's no fire? I'm sorry, Paul. What's that? What's no fire? What does that mean, no fire? Well, what did Joe Montana have? He was Joe Cool. He wasn't rah-rah guy at all. I'm not sure. What's no fire, bro? What's fire mean? What's that silliness? Fans for fanatical. And I love you, brother. Appreciate you. Been talking to you forever. That's where you get silly. Oh, he doesn't have fire. What kind of bullshit is that, dude? Haven't you figured it out? There's no such thing as that. Tom Flores won 2 championships, and Tony Dungy won 1, and those guys didn't say anything. Kurt Warner is a God squatter. There's no rah-rah in Kurt Warner. You got a touchdown? Hey, God bless you. You're a great Christian. Where's the rah-rah, dude? Silly bullshit that you fans, you fill your head up with shit, dude. Raw bullshit. Win, man. Can you play? Can you win? Raw crap, fire. Get out of here with that shit. Next up, let's go. Silliness. Love you, Paul. Drop that fire bullshit. Go listen to Jimi Hendrix. There you go. Your fire. Go listen to Ohio Players. Okay, you want your fire? Go there, bro. Fire. Give me a fucking break with that shit. Rise Taylor. Ross needs to stop hiring rookie head coaches. McDaniel will win a Super Bowl, but not with the Dolphins. Sucks, but still on our own hands. F up. Wow, so you already know that McDaniel's going to fail here and go somewhere else. That's awesome, bro. That's fantastic. I love that. So then all the coaches that win Super Bowls, they all won prior Super Bowls to that and were experienced coaches. Is that how it goes? Is that the history of the game? I didn't know that. Okay. All right. You guys come up with some really dumb shit. Next up, MK006, bad coaching, clumsy two at the end, recurring theme. That's fair. That's fair. The clumsy remark on Tua at the end there, it's happened a couple times. He's right. He's right about that. The coaching was terrible, but it was clumsy at the end for Tua. It kind of reminded you of that other game with the Cedric Wilson misread and all that. Was that the end of the Chiefs game? I think it was, right? That it was kind of clumsy. Yeah, that's a fair comment. Next up. But maybe it's because Tua doesn't have enough fire. Next up. That's it? We're good? Okay. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. But remember, you got to have fire. Yeah, I'm not going to let you live that one down, Paul. Adam Pinkster, Orlando, I'm going to overreact. Fire Crossman tonight. Yeah, it'll happen at the end of the year. I'm furious. McDaniel and Fangio. Will Levis is an average QB at best. Made him look like Warren Moon. Totally cropped a chance to earn a 1 seed. Well, they haven't lost that yet because they still play the Ravens, and the Ravens can still lose games. So I'm not that, I'm not. Ravens defense is really tough. Their offense really isn't anything special. So I'm not going to go that crazy over that part. That can still be taken care of. The Danny Crossman stuff, they made a mistake there, dude. Okay, they made a mistake with Danny Crossman. They made a mistake with Jason Sanders in bringing him back, and the punter that they replaced, they made a mistake there. They don't make a lot of mistakes. Okay, I love this front office, and I like this head coach, but I don't know what the hell happened with McDaniel, why he wanted to keep Crossman. Maybe, his forgiving nature. He wanted to give him a second chance since it was his first year under him. I think McDaniel will have to make that change. Okay? When it's all said and done, he has to make that change. Peter German, strong again on another Venmo. Thank you, sir. I am so done with Sanders. Would you really trust him in the? No, I don't. I said that a couple of weeks ago. When he made the 51-yarder or 49-yarder, I think it was a 49-yarder, and I said, glad he made the kick. I still don't trust him. You can check the tweet. I don't trust Sanders as far as I can throw him, and I think it's too late to actually cut him now and find somebody. At this point, they screwed up. Okay? They effed up is what they did. There's no other way around it. Bad decision bringing back Danny Crossman. Terrible decision bringing back Jason Sanders. Horrible decision replacing the punter. Facts. Concrete facts set in stone. It's been proven over and over and over again. The Miami Dolphins made a major mistake on special teams this year. Okay? And if you're good enough on offense and defense, it means nothing because special teams could end up costing you the season. Terrible decision with all three. Peter German. So you are good. He says, my Christmas wish is to have McDaniel get his head out of his ass and learn to run when it matters. Yes, you are correct. Strong Venmo, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Jeffrey Anthony again on Venmo. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, we get 100% of the donation. That's why we tell you Cash App or Venmo. On YouTube, they take 30%. That's why we mention it. Jeffrey Anthony. Big O, I'm proud. I'm proud and still on the Tua train with you. This was a team loss. Yeah, it was a horrible team loss. To blame it all on Tua would be ridiculous. Stephen M., thank you. You send me some Bitcoin right now. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Love it. Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show, and nothing is better than a Bitcoin donation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Stephen M. says, a Bitcoin for fire. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What else do we have here? All right, go ahead on the super chats. What do we have? What's next up? King Mac, I want to note that Tua has been leading his receivers into, yes, he has, into some crazy hits. Also, I noticed Tua seems a bit flustered if that first read isn't there. The problem is that you're right about that it's not that he gets flustered, right? It's that you run out of time. And so you've got to make that quick decision. And then you find him now scrambling more, and he's got to buy himself a little bit more time. This is what happens when you don't have a tight end that you can count on. And the other thing is they don't throw enough to the backs. I don't know why, but they don't throw enough to the backs. And I don't know why they're not using them in crossing routes and getting them in motion and trying some more stuff. I don't know. I don't know. You know, but it also, and he has Tannehill some receivers. You know what I'm saying? That one he threw to Waddle, that Waddle got whacked. It was since this guy retired, that throw to Waddle, I don't think there's another quarterback that's been in a Dolphin uniform that makes that throw. I know Jay Cutler had the arm, but I don't know if he accuracy and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a hit or miss for him in that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But that was a great throw, dude. Oh my God. The A-Chain bomb was beautiful. A-Chain slowed down. He overthrew A-Chain. You know, that was there. That was right there. And he ended up slowing down, and it was just one of those things. And it was a bad game all around, everywhere, man. Everywhere. I mean, Waddle running 2 routes the wrong way. Let me tell you, the one route that he ran wrong, it almost caused an interception. And the Tua haters would have been all over Tua, but it's Waddle. And he's like, oh, I mean, yeah, we know, dude. Yeah. Waddle has he has a tendency to have brain farts, right? He is fantastic. He's a great talent, all of that. But he has that one thing that he has a bugaboo, which is mental lapses. Let's just call it that, because he makes mistakes. And he makes too many for elite receivers. I don't care if you're the 4th or 5th receiver and you're doing that. That's why you're the 4th or 5th receiver. But when you're the top 2 receiver, I can't have you running wrong routes. I can't have you dropping balls. I can't. It's crazy. You can't do that. All right, what's next? Sam Cavison says, Big O, could that be McDaniel is not showing all of his cards before the playoffs when it's crunch time for real? They don't have that luxury, Sam. You're Kansas City. You have that luxury. You have 2 titles. You can get bored with the process. You can maybe extend things and try to hide stuff and all that. But when you're the Dolphins and haven't accomplished jack shit in decades, I don't think you have the luxury of trying to say that you can assume you'll be 3 weeks here or 4 weeks from now, or I'm going to save this for the AFC Championship game. You need to win now. So I don't think you have that luxury, Sam. I just don't, my brother. I think you got to find ways. Some people today were like, oh, complaining about how ugly the game was. And I was like, man, just win. And look, you lost. I just want you to win the game. I'm not here for the style points. This league, it gets muddied all the time. Good teams struggle against bad teams all the time, and they barely beat them. As long as you win, who cares? You know what I'm saying? The Titans they've got some talent on that team. They got a hell of a coach. And the Will Levis kid, he's got a little something to him. I'm not saying that he's arrived or anything like that, but what I like about Will Levis, where I will give you, he is fearless. And that's a really nice trait for him. And he's tough, obviously, because he took a beating today. Okay, he took a licking like a Timex watch, to use an old phrase, old saying. You got to give him some props. I'm not saying he's arrived or anything, but at least the kid hangs in there. I give him some. I got to give the guys some props when they deserve it. Next up, Sean, what is it? So you think Ross will stick with McDaniel if we don't win a playoff game? Shouldn't he? Yes, but will he? Of course he will. Of course he will. I don't think you. I'm fine, dude. Listen, it's frustrating. You're all mad right now. Okay, your emotions are boiling over. You're pissed off. You're pissed off at the team. You're pissed off at McDaniel. You're pissed off at Fangio. You're pissed off at Tua. You're pissed off at the opportunity at a number one seed. I get all of that, man. The frustrations of the last 30 years. I understand all of that. This is the best coach that we've had here in a long time. Flo and Philbin couldn't build staffs. This guy can build a staff. Okay? This guy's got a great offensive mind. Is he stubborn? Yes. Does he have things to learn? Yes. It's only his second year, but I love the progress they've made. I love watching this offense. Are there things that need to be balanced out a little bit more? Amen. Of course, ladies and gentlemen. Stuff has to be balanced out. But in the end, are you in a much better place than you've been in 25 years? Yeah, man. So let's not act like we're in Kansas City and we've got 2 titles and we're acting like, we're our crap doesn't stink or anything like that. And don't make it sound like you can just get any other head coach and you could just get any other quarterback and you could just get any other GM and you could just get anything else and it could just be interchangeable, because that has not been the case for the last 25 years. Nothing has been interchangeable. Those are the facts. And to be, to the point where you want to make changes, that's ridiculous. Let's be pissed. Let's be frustrated. Let's point fingers. Let's move on. Okay? All right? You can point. You can lay the blame. They should assume the blame. They should take responsibility and accountability, and let's move on. But this isn't Tom Olivadotti. It's a bad Fangio night. This isn't Joe Philbin. This is Mike McDaniel with a bad night. Okay? This isn't Cleo Lemon or Ray Lucas. This isn't any of that. All right? None of that. This isn't John Beck. I can just go on and on and on and on. Tua Tagovailoa is way better than anything that you've had here. So perspective, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bad night. It sucks. But you are 9-4. You're not 4-9. You're 9-4. You can pick up your 10th win next week with 3 more to go. There's plenty of season left, and there's plenty of great storylines to be laid out there. But to make this the end-all, be-all, it's just an overreaction Overreacting, ridiculous fan at this point. Bad night. Bad night. Chubb doesn't make that stupid mistake every single night. Okay? Can't say the thing about the running back for Mike McDaniel. Can't say that about him because he does it every week. All right, next up is Matt Amarante. Fire, give me a break. Such a dumb. Yeah, no, that fire shit is like, it's ridiculous, bro. There's plenty of players that it's Barry Sanders played with no fire. None. Nada. The most electrifying running back in the history of the game. Okay? A guy that can make moves like I've never seen till then and since then. Okay? Nothing has ever even come close to what Barry Sanders is. And he would score, and there was zero me ever. It was, here's the ball. There you go. Here, I'm the most electrifying player. Boom. Hey, Barry, you got to go back in, dude. You're 11 yards from the rushing title. Not important, dude. We're winning the game. It's over. Why do I need to go back in? Me. I want the rushing title. I want to be number one. I want all the glory. How is Barry Sanders with that? Boring. How's Tim Duncan in 5 titles? Any fire from Tim Duncan? Yeah, no, Paul, you won't live that one down. Yeah. I love you, but you won't live that one down. That's some silly shit. By the way, it's just one of those things in history. Just go ahead and look. Wayne Gretzky, 0 fire. You know where his fire was? Janet Jones. That's fire. Right? That was her name, right? Janet Jones. His incredibly hot wife, beautiful wife. Leon Fresco. Few things. Thank you for the love in the super chat, sir. Should have had more snaps under center to help Eichenberg. True. Only Kohu blitz worked, then abandoned it. Yeah, he did not go after Levitz enough. That was terrible on Fangio's part. You let the kid get comfortable. You allowed Hopkins to go across the field. Hopkins is 87 years old. It takes him 8.9 seconds to get across the field. And he allowed I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Will Levis had a cigar in his hand, had an ash this long, and then he completed the pass to Hopkins. Yeah, I'm with you there. Finns need to learn to throw a screen to backs. Yes, they're not very good at that. Yes, and you gotta have somebody pulling out there and all that stuff. You know, that would help. There, last time I checked, there was like some guy named Rob Hunt on the inactive list. It would have been nice to have Rob Hunt out there. Next up, thank you, Rosendo. Appreciate you. Strong one. Romel Valverde. It seems Dolphins had picadillo for lunch. Diarrhea everywhere. Yes. Well, they had picadillo. They diarrheaed on us. That's what they did. Basically, that was bad. Yeah, that was really bad. Boss B is in the house. Remember, you can make a donation. We love it here on the Super Chats, but Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And Bitcoin donations are very welcome there, too. Boss B, what the F, Big O? Every time I come to a game, they lose. This was a horrible offensive effort. Okay, well, then we have the answer. Don't come to any more games, Boss B. Stay the hell away, bro. Watch it on a 70, 80, 200-inch screen. Go to Vegas. Go to Circa. You know, go hang out in the pool, big-ass view. Stay away from the damn stadium, man. You're bad luck schleprock. Oh, wowsy, woo-woo. Next up. Man of 1,005 holds. Those red zone fade plays were stupid. Well, especially when it's not Ezukama or, and I said this to my wife, which she can't be here for her witness, why isn't Cedric Wilson in there? He's shown you he can high point the ball. He's actually played well. By the way, Cedric Wilson, props to Cedric Wilson. We used to say, hey, Cedric Wilson can't get on the field. That sucks for him that Sherfield and Craycraft and these guys jumped him and all that. Now I can say, hey, Cedric Wilson makes plays all the time. If Tyreek is out or Waddle's out, why aren't you giving Cedric Wilson more plays? Am I wrong for that? Because every time I see you throw to Cedric Wilson, he's kind of making plays. And he can high point the ball. He's got some height to him. He gives Tua a bigger target. Why do you keep running the Oompa Loompas out there, Mike McDaniel? And there's where, if you're not smart enough to keep running, then I can question you if you're going to just play Tyreek, Waddle, Berrios, and Craycraft, and you're not going to play Cedric Wilson enough. So I'm with you on that one. Next up, John Pedersen, right? You put an E, not an A. Is that your mistake, or am I reading it right? Thank you for the love in the super chat. I know I'm overreacting, but I'm still scared from all the December swoons of the late 80s and 90s. I can't help it. It's just where my brain goes. And you know what? I am, but let's not make it out to be that, because it's not that yet. Until it's that, then we'll do it. King Mac Attack says, also no more screens to Hill. I haven't seen one work yet. Yeah, it kind of gets snuffed out a little bit. Rice Taylor, again, on the super chat. I agree, Big O. McDaniel, best coach I've had in my time by far, but don't trust Ross to give this guy the time he needs to win a Super Bowl. I think he'll be fine. You guys are getting way ahead of yourselves, man. Everything's fine. None of that's good. The only changes you should make in the offseason is Danny Crossman, 4. Okay. All right. Saphidophilus is ready to go. The Safidine. He is fresh from the locker rooms, fresh from this debacle. Let's get to it with our BaptistHealth.net/ortho, Miami Dolphins postgame report.
Let's get the latest from the Aqua and Orange with our Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins report with USA Today insider Safid Dean. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. Here's Safid Dean.
All right. Safid, I don't know where I start, but one of the things that I think one of my themes tonight is an absolutely terrible game by Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio. I didn't think as coaches, I thought they did a piss poor job to complement their players on a consistent basis. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was more Mike than Vic. You had the lead, man. You had the lead. You had a 27-13 lead with 4:34 left, and they came back and beat you. This was on Mike, and I know the defense really messed up here, but you shouldn't have even had these 2 touchdowns. These 2 touchdowns by Mostert, you shouldn't have even had them. Those were the flukiest plays when you look back at a muff punt, and you look at Bradley Chubb getting and
Sealer.
and Sealer too. You should have had no points in this game. You pretty much did. This is all Mike McDaniel. You remember that one time when Tyreek got hurt and you see the HBO, whatever clip, it wasn't HBO yet, but he's looking at his play sheet and he's like, is Tyreek here? Is Tyreek up? Is Tyreek up? Mike McDaniel has no offense to run, no place to run without Tyreek Hill at the moment.
But the run game
He doesn't
works.
know what to do. He doesn't know what to do when Tyreek is in the game.
But why doesn't he stick to the run game when it's working on a consistent basis?
Yeah, you gotta change it around sometimes. Sometimes the run gets stopped and then you have to pass. And then the pass gets stopped.
No, he chooses even when it's running to then all of a sudden start passing.
Yeah, I mean you have to with that quarterback. The whole offense is about Tua throwing the ball to Tyreek. There's no other options. There's Jalen Waddle every now and then. And just a steady diet of Mostert and A-Chain. This was.
Is A-Chain going to run through the entire route, or is he going to slow down so then he gets overthrown?
This was let me relocate for 1 second. But this was a really bad game for the Dolphins. They do this every time. They go do this every time. I know Dolphins fans must be really frustrated. They do this every time. Big game in a big spot, and they soil themselves, bro.
They shit the
They
bed.
they soil themselves. They do really bad.
Yeah.
If you're a Dolphins
Why
fan,
didn't Fangio pressure Levis?
with
Why
what?
didn't he go after him?
With what?
Pass rush.
With what? Your best pass
Pass
rusher is injured for the rest of the year.
No. You got guys there. Get after his ass, bro. Send extra guys. Don't let him sit back there and pick you apart and wait for Hopkins, who's 80 years old, to go across the whole damn field.
I agree. I think the pass rush would.
Will Levis had a cigar and it had a 3-inch ash before he made that throw.
Yeah, they had a couple. There were a couple guys wanted to blow some cigars and head to a favorite establishment after the game as well too, man. Look, I was in the Titans locker room. I wasn't in the Dolphins locker room for this one. I want to know how they pulled this one off. With 2:40 left, they scored the first touchdown, and a minute later, they scored again. Not even a minute.
Yeah.
Take 9 seconds, 51 seconds away. The Dolphins, when they scored those two touchdowns, they were a minute apart with Mostert. The Dolphins really, really messed up in this game. There was no offense. Once Hill went down, everything deflated for Miami. Everything deflated. And that was after Sealer, right? That was after the Sealer touchdown. Everything deflated after that. They kind of the first drive too was bad too. Like they just Mike got outcoached by Mike Vrabel.
Oof.
This was another Brandon Staley situation. This was another Brandon Staley contemporary situation where Vrabel said, "All right." After Tyreek went down, it was like a blessing in disguise for the Titans. And even when he came back, he wasn't really too 100% or anything like that. There were some times where he didn't start the drive on the field. The last two drives of the game didn't see a target. What did Waddle finish with? Did Waddle have a good game? 6 catches, 79 yards is decent. But you're looking for a lot more. And when Tua's spreading the ball out like he is, and 10 incompletions, you're really wondering whether those were drops or not. If they came at the right time. Mostert had a good game, 29 for 96 yards, but this was a really bad game. They had so many punts, more punts than a game that you need in this caliber, where the possession was down, man. This was a really short possession game. They didn't have a lot of opportunities, and they messed them up when they had them.
What did McDaniel say about his play calling? Was it questioned in the media room?
I wasn't there, Big O. I was on the winning side. I went to cover the winning side team because, at least one of these teams had to win a game, and the Titans showed they know how to do it. Dolphins didn't do that.
No, I know. I understand. I understand what you had to do for SI, but obviously,
I understand. I think Mike McDaniel
asked McDaniel decisions to pass instead of running the ball in the red zone. We passed the ball because we thought it was going to work, and it didn't. That was definitely the wrong call because it didn't work. That's the same bullshit excuse he gives every time for something that constantly is not working.
Yeah. And sometimes he thinks it's going to work and it just doesn't.
But you can't give the same excuse when it's constantly not working.
Look, this is the we really hyped this train up, and it deserved this little taste of good medicine. We talked about how the Dolphins never lost to a bad team at all this year. It came in this game. We were talking about how the Dolphins had the number 1 seed right in front of them, gone after this game. Still attainable. You got to be Baltimore, but for the most part, not as much in the picture as it was a couple hours ago, right? You talk about Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. I don't know if these guys got a chance in any of those games, to be very honest. And Tyreek is now hurt. Tyreek is hurt. Connor Williams got wrapped up. Armstead's hurt. Rob Hunt is hurt. Phillips out for the year. Baker out for the season. For the rest of the season. Who else you got, Big O?
What do you know about Connor Williams?
He got rolled up on. I didn't hear anything about the update afterwards. So I kind of doing you a disservice there, but we'll find out more. I don't think he was a situation where he could have came back. He was ruled out pretty quickly. So that one right there is very concerning. Eichenberg came in. They had the fumble, right? They had the fumble inside the 5 there. Inside the red zone, man, the Dolphins just absolutely are bad, bro. Like, McDaniel doesn't know what he's doing in that area. Um, it's run, a pass play, a screen play with 2 yards. It's a fade route to Tyreek, or a fade route to Cedric Wilson. Two was really long, and the one to Tyreek. The Wilson one wasn't good. The creativity and everything that we give him praise for, doesn't show up in the red zone area. And then when they finally got to the point where you had Mostert inside the 5 running the ball, you had success, right?
Yeah.
So many empty possessions. Very empty, very lackluster. This was a good wake-up call for Mike. And at the time when you needed it, because they have some games coming up and they can't afford to soil themselves like they did today.
Yeah, no, they definitely had a terrible performance today, and I thought overall the coaching was really a huge failure. By the way, it's pretty much official, right? You've got to clean out the special teams coach, the kicker, and the punter, right? If there's a mistake that McDaniel made and the front office, because obviously they had to go find the punter, McDaniel must have been his decision to keep the coach and the kicker. So overall, but it's still both of them. That's a failed triangle right there, right? Absolutely
Yeah,
failed.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I saw the guy was on the team, I was like, "You still here?"
Yeah.
So that's my thought on that.
Yeah.
Jason Sanders, the block was a good block by the Titans guy. He rose up and got it. The kick wasn't high enough, or I don't know how much higher you could kick
It
it.
was a low kick. It was a low kick. It was on Sanders.
Yeah,
Low kick.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's time to, you have a kick like that. That's one kick. It helps.
No, that's
You
the
know,
winning. That's the winning kick. That's the winning kick
they would have
right
found some
there.
way to lose this
Right
game,
there.
man. You saw how bad they were playing.
And the Eichenberg bad snap. That's another winning field goal right there. I mean, and
Yeah.
a Chan under slowing down for that bomb. Okay. And
Yeah,
by the way,
definitely.
from the 8, and it landed on the 47. Okay.
Also,
And
he's not doing 2-yard passes anymore.
no, it's not 2-yard passes. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's why this loss was like all
I mean,
over the place.
This game was completely all over the place. This was a Thursday night game on a Monday night game, right? But when I think about it,
You say so, Dolphins, because it was everybody, bro.
yeah, it was everybody. It was everybody. Like, Tua wasn't spectacular.
No, please.
Hill was pedestrian because he had to be. You got some crazy plays that went your way. And outside of that, it would have been a dud of a game. Mike really didn't have these guys prepared, or Mike doesn't have an offense when Tyreek's not in the game.
Yeah, it's
plain and simple. It's
that,
one of those two things.
that starts to become a realistic indictment on you if you don't start showing something different. So
Yeah, and I mean, last year the whole offense was kind of catered towards Hill, and a lot of these guys didn't know what the hell they were doing in the offense, Tyreek included. This year it's all exclusively for Tyreek, and now there's no real. You got some other plays here or there, but who's going to run them? Like, does Waddle know all of the Hill route tree to run it with him? I don't know.
So let me ask you, red zone, you want to get so cute passing. He makes plays when you throw it to him, Cedric Wilson. Why aren't you using him more, actually? Because every time he gets an opportunity, and by the way, the refs made a bunch of bad calls. Yeah. One of them was Cedric Wilson because that catch was not inbound, actually. The out of bounds foot touched before the second foot touched. If we're gonna be objective about all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he had his opportunities. Everybody had their opportunities in this game. Engel trucked the guy, or leapfrogged the guy. Barrios had 2 catches. Smythe with the catch of the game. Thigh master, Suzanne Summers, like they said on the broadcast. I mean, Smythe came through, and that could have been the play of the year if they would have ended up winning this game.
Well, Smythe came through, but it shows the other pass that he doesn't know how to use his body to shelter so he can catch and allows the DB to come over.
He's limited. Make a play when you need to make the play. He made it.
And he dropped that pass too. Luckily, he is thunder thighs Smythe, and I get it. He's got a future as a stripper, He can work the pole now. He's got the thighs. I get all of that, but it's almost like McDaniel winning a challenge because your dumbass special teams coach had the 11th man on the field running off the field.
Look, and I want to see some more at the backfield too. I mean, Achane had 5 catches at the backfield, missed 4 of them. Tua needs to dunk. Tua needs to check it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to see a little bit more there. But Mike left a lot to be desired today. This was a bad game for him. This was the worst loss of his career because of the fact that how they lost in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah. And for me, the defense was gross today. Gross.
Yeah, this was a bad game. This is a game you miss Baker. This is a game you miss Phillips because those guys give you pressure.
Holland.
And you miss Holland too.
Holland. All right, what do you got going on?
I completely forgot Javon wasn't even in this game, man. This was a Holland injury. Yeah, Holland probably saves you on the back end from a lot of those things, especially Levis. So he's probably the biggest reason why they lost this game, not having him. Not having him. What I got going on, I was in the Titans locker room talking to the winners in this one. So I'm going to write a little bit about how the Titans kind of stole Monday Night Football along with the Giants tonight. I also wrote about Tyreek and his injury. He had some comments after the game as well, too. Hurt like hell. His wife told him to come back in, but he said, I went back in on my own. So I think this was a game where they were going to really sit Tyreek. They were really trying to not play him. And he needed to. And that's sad.
Yeah,
excuse me. It's bad. It's bad, but it's not sad. Excuse me. I understand you want to be conservative, but you have to figure out your offense without him. You just have to.
A lot of self-inflicted stuff tonight, man, for the Dolphins. It's just they imploded. We thought that Tennessee was imploding. Then the Dolphins said, "No, we can better that," and they did.
And Tennessee has a quarterback, man. They found their quarterback. Had a bad season, but they found their quarterback.
Got a little something to him. He does.
Yeah.
You got to give him some credit. Yes.
Couldn't even talk to Tannehill in the locker room. Like, what am I supposed to ask him? Hey, how was your replacement?
Yeah. and bro, Levis took a beating in the first half. A beating in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, he took a beating with 5 minutes. Took a beating with 5 minutes left too, and came back and led them to a win. We doing on Tuesday or Wednesday, Big O?
We're
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
All right,
we'll do Wednesday.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. See you Wednesday, man.
You got it, baby. Be good.
Have a good one.
That is Safedine, baby. Yes, sir. And of course, when we're talking about Baptist Health, the staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care is comprised of highly specialized, board-certified, and fellowship-trained orthopedic physicians supported by advanced practice providers and athletic trainers, all of whom play a vital role in the patient's experience. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has locations from Monroe to Palm Beach County. BaptistHealth.net/ortho.
The Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins report with insider Safed Dean is brought to you by Baptist Health of South Florida. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net.
All right. Wow, that is rough going. All right, let's find out what happened in the Dolphins locker room with David Furones and our Welt and Realm Miami Dolphins postgame report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Realm Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. So how was that locker room? How was the coach?
Man, I think the players were, in a way, sort of trying to be resolute. Like they give off the impression you're not going to collapse from this. You move on, you bounce back, but it's tough after that one. I'll tell you. I know some players were saying that maybe saw the finish line. Bradley Chubb, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Ramsey sort of refuted that concept, that notion that maybe they were looking at the finish line too early. I know I certainly was. I was focused on riding my Dolphins win, pull it out. They pull away late, and then I couldn't believe what was going on. Once one touchdown happened, then it seemed like, okay, it's a possibility. And then sure enough, after the 2-point conversion, they were playing for the win, and they got it, and the Dolphins could not come down for a drive to respond.
Why won't Mike McDaniel take responsibility for his not being dedicated to the run and just giving the lazy excuse every single time that it's a bad call because it didn't work? But if you keep saying it every single time, doesn't it become a bad call already at this point? Isn't it a bad call already at this point that every time you're in the red zone, you're abandoning the run? I mean, at the end, they finally scored and they actually gave it to the run. But throughout the game, dude, in that part where Waddle gets the 7 yards, it's 2nd and 3. You start getting cute. Boom. Towards the end of the first half, you have an 11, a 14, a 4-yard run. And then all of a sudden, you start passing the ball again and you get cute and you kill the drives. Dude, you're not old enough, but back in the day, when we used to see Marino abandon the run or Shula and just call pass play, we understood because the run game wasn't that good. The offensive line, but they actually can do the job. And you were at one point averaging like 6.7 yards a carry. Like, why aren't you punishing the hell out of the opponent with the run game? And then the excuses after when it fails.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer from the very start. I was going to point to this number, 5.1. That's what they averaged for the game, and then they were even higher, obviously, earlier in the game. Raheem Mostert, it was working, and then late, when you finally did go to him, those 2 touchdowns late, yeah, that's how you pulled away for a brief second there, I guess. But, yeah, and then 1 third down, you're down there, 3rd and goal, and then your best play is a fade to Cedric Wilson when he's in the game because Tyreek Hill's out for a while. That's frustrating. Then the fumbled quarterback center exchange, that's another missed opportunity. So they get to a point where deep into the 4th quarter, you haven't scored an offensive touchdown yet, and you had 3 trips inside the 10-yard line. All you came up with was 2 field goals. So that's really inexcusable for this offense. And something finally hit where they went to the run late, and you saw that it worked. But yeah, some of those play calls were frustrating down there.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't keep saying, oh, it's a bad call if it doesn't work. But you keep saying that it's a bad call and it doesn't work because it's not working. Yeah. And then when you go to it, like at the end of the game, it works. So at what point, coach, you admit it's a bad call and you're not running the proper offense for your team? And then on the flip side, I thought Fangio, brother, he did not pressure Will Levis, especially with that 14-point lead in that first drive. He's just going downfield. Brother, get after his ass. Send some extra people. Do something. Try to rattle him. Get him out of his comfort zone. None of that was happening. I thought Fangio also kind of – Mike McDaniel more than anything, but I thought Fangio also failed his team.
Yeah, certainly. And I'll have to watch those 2 defensive series more closely because, like I said earlier, I mean, once they went up 2 touchdowns, and I'm not even so much looking at that first drive. I'm just saying, okay, yeah, they won. Even if they get some yards, they pull off a couple first downs. Once they get into the red zone, then the defense tightens up. But, yeah, I mean, I imagine it was some soft coverages, and that's what happens when you go to that late and when you've had the defense dominating them for the entire game up to that point. Will Levis was impressive. There were some miscommunications on the back end, that's for sure. That's how Hopkins got free on that first play of that second drive. Critical mistakes down the stretch on both, defensively there and then throughout the game on offense.
Jalen Waddle runs 2 routes wrong. He didn't have the drop this week like he normally does. All these kind of things add up. You know what I'm saying? It's just this was a loss that was like ugly. Tua didn't play well at all today. And as somebody said, which was a great way of putting it, it's happened a couple times where it looks like a really clumsy ending to a game. You know, the way the Kansas City game ended was kind of clumsy, and now this one tonight kind of ended kind of clumsy. It was just, man, it was just ugly overall. What do we know about Connor Williams?
Yeah, Mike McDaniel hadn't checked with trainers yet after the game. I know I've seen some reports that it is a serious injury. It looked like it the way he got rolled up on, and I did see him with a brace on the knee as well. So that's already there in place. We'll find out more tomorrow, but I'm anticipating it. I don't want to speculate, but I think it'll be some bad news, but nothing definitive.
Walking with the brace?
If I saw correctly, I saw him walking back into the tunnel. If indeed it was him, I mean, you got to look like Connor Williams wearing a brace on the knee. So
okay, so he
but
was
yeah,
walking with a brace, but he had no crutches.
No crutches.
Okay. So I don't know. It could be bad, but real bad. I don't know. He's walking without crutches. Usually, you're air casted. You're on a wheelchair. You're with crutches. Your foot is up. Your leg is up in the air, or something. If he's just walking with a brace, I don't know how. You know.
Yeah, then it could be better. Yeah, it could be better than what it looked like originally. So. Yeah, I'm no doctor, so I probably should have gone the route of saying it could be one of the worst.
Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be out like a month, right? Or
That's right. Yeah, the way he was walking. Although, yeah, he too was walking and not using a cart. So
and then he played
right back out there. Yeah, Monday night to Sunday turnaround. That's what the Dolphins have now too. So
right, and so it's like it's one of those deals. Like, hey, why didn't they get him a card? And he refused to get a card, and then he comes back and plays the following week. So it's like, okay, now I see why was going on. So if Connor's out there with a brace walking, I don't see crutches. I don't see a wheelchair. I don't see one of those little carts that they put your leg on and you can wheel it around and all that. I don't see any of that. Well, then I don't see an air cast. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I can't get too negative yet until you actually tell me it's really that bad. You know what I'm saying? He could have torn it and he still could be walking around with a brace, by the way. He could be just way tougher than you and I.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and actually, I mean, there's stories of torn ACLs where a guy like Klay Thompson walked back out and shot a couple free throws. Was it Carson Wentz? He was in a couple of plays that year when he tore. So yeah, that's why there's so many different ways it can go. But there will be a key update most likely tomorrow when McDaniel speaks.
I watched on the field Ed Perry run off the field, blow out a knee ligament, an ACL. He stepped on the part where the clay and the grass meet, and just that it made that twist, and it made him blow out his ACL. He walks off the field. Okay, they score a touchdown. Ed, we need you in here. The mother effer went back in, snapped the ball perfectly for an extra point with a blown knee ligament.
Wow. And those days, you could line up over the center too, no? It wasn't like long snapper, I should say.
If you ever run into Ed Perry, or if you ever need some kind of a crazy ACL story, make a note in there.
Okay.
Go chase Ed Perry on that, and he'll tell you the story. Because I saw it. I witnessed it.
That's some legendary shit. Yeah.
He was out for the season after that game.
Wow. Incredible.
It just shows, some of these guys are freakish. So Connor Williams could have a blown knee ligament, could have a brace on, and could be just one tough son of a bitch. Bro, you know Marino never repaired that Achilles, right?
The Achilles, huh? I would always hear, he was just never the same after that, but
he wore that big ankle thing to kind of offset the fact that he really didn't even replace his Achilles.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well, yeah,
It's
they were
one of
talking
those-
about the conversations that he and Aaron Rodgers had, and I mean, because he still had the timeline for it, right? But so he never fully recovered.
No, he just let it
Mhm.
go. And he played with some big ass brace on his ankle to provide the support. So it showed you how great Marino was. That's a huge blow to his lower base, and yet he still could, sling the shit out of the ball. So it's just Marino. Theme of the show today. That guy was special.
He was different. A lot of kids say different these days. He was different.
Yeah. That dude is that dude's a Martian compared to some of the people we see nowadays. He is a cut of a different cloth. What'd you think of the defensive performance? Because it was absolutely terrible when you needed it.
Yeah, when you needed it most. I thought for most of the game, and this is I just assumed the end would go this way. Yeah, I mean they were doing just fine. Maybe not enough pressure on Levis, of course, and we saw that rear its ugly head late. But I mean, fine, kind of what I thought I was expecting. The Dolphins should do against the Titans. They held Derrick Henry to 2 yards per carry. That's where my focus would have been. And then a lot of what Levis did was late on those 2 drives. So just very surprising that I know the secondary didn't have they both had starters by the end. So Deshaun Elliott lost in this game, went back in, had to go back out. So then you're going with Brandon Jones because Javon Holland's already out. So Brandon Jones and Elijah Campbell there on the back end. But I mean, it's still secondary where you have this cornerback combination of Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. So I was not expecting 2 quick touchdown scoring drives to blow a 14-point lead. You think with this defense, it should be over every time against any quarterback, let alone. All right, Levis played his ass off, but a rookie quarterback on this type of stage, this defense should seal the deal on that situation 100 times out of 100.
How much do you lay it on Tua?
Yeah, a lot. And there's the big debate over Tua Tyreek Hill, who's more deserving of the MVP. I think this game pretty much sealed it that Tyreek Hill is the most valuable piece to this offense, and yes, Tua is in that conversation for his play. Obviously, this game notwithstanding, but then he went out and the offense changes a lot, and then the missed opportunities. And it's not just Tyreek Hill; 4 starters now down on the offensive line. Although we have seen this offense be able to overcome that at other times. Not so much today, although they did run the ball well, but some pressure. I know Tua was hit, sacked 5 times. I just looked down quickly to find that number. So 5 times sacked. The last one, the one to seal it on the 4th down, and it just felt like you said the word clumsy. Like it just the whole way. I was there. You see, even after the Titans score those 2 touchdowns, it's 28-27. I should expect Tua and his Dolphins offense against the Titans, which are not a strong defense, and was without Jeffrey Simmons in this game, to just go right down and at least get a field goal. That's all you need. And for some reason, you went that drive saying, just what I've seen this game, I don't think it's like under 50% that it's going to happen. And they're thinking it's more likely it doesn't than it does. And then sure enough, it doesn't happen when that's a drive that should be like a 75% success rate. That should almost be, all right, Tua's going to get you guys in the field goal range to score those winning 3 points. And it didn't happen.
So let me ask you something. If we talk about McDaniel now, okay, how much does this lay on McDaniel that as a offensive mind, if you are Mr. Creative, you've got to be able to be creative without Tyreek. You've got to be able to run the offense at times, complement your quarterback better with the running game so you can make life easier on Tua, actually. Tua, again, not that guy, okay? That guy, you can say, F the running game. Here's the ball, Dan. Throw it 50 times. Get us out of this. Most quarterbacks in this league cannot do that. Okay, it's Mahomes with good receivers. It's Joe Burrow. He has good receivers. So those there's only a couple of those guys that I would say, here's the ball, sling it 50 times, get us out of this. You know what I'm saying? Tua's not that guy. And like most quarterbacks in this league aren't that guy. And so run the offense, do a better job. I think this starts if Tyreek can't be there for every down for you. You've got to be prepared that he's not going to be there for every down at times. This is football, dude. It's a brutal game. So, you're going to lose people. You got to be prepared. You got to adjust. And I can't say that the adjustment from Mike McDaniel is very good.
Right. So those debates that would go on, whether how much of the success of this offense goes Tua to Tyreek, and then now we add Mike McDaniel into that as well. Well, same as I just said about Tua. Well, Mike McDaniel did not get this offense going the same way when Tyreek Hill went out. So I think we've slid Tyreek Hill's value a little bit higher, although it was obviously already very high, a little bit more now after seeing this, where both with Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, they have other weapons. Jalen Waddle should be able to step up. We've seen him have a 1,000-yard season as a rookie before Tyreek Hill even got here. And in with a Brian Flores-led team, George Godsey is offensive coordinator, and he was able to do that as a rookie coming in. You still have Raheem Mostert. You still have Devon Achane. So this offense should have been able to do more the moments when Tyreek Hill was out of this game.
X-Men with the thigh, hip, whatever that was, Waddle, obviously, Mostert with the ankle, Connor Williams, Deshaun Elliott had the concussion stuff but came back, so obviously he checked out. What do we know about all these injuries? I know we talked about Connor, and some of these other guys continue to play, but still, you know how it is, bro. Then later on and after the game and the next day, we hear, oh, yeah, Mostert's ankle blew up like an avocado, and, all of a sudden. So what do we know about any of these guys? Did you see them in the locker room? How did they look? What's the deal?
Yeah, oftentimes it's that adrenaline that gets you through the game. And then even remember the Javon Holland leaving the MetLife Stadium, he was saying he was okay with those knees, and he's missed 2 straight games after that. So I guess we'll start with Tyreek Hill. He had that ankle taped up. We know he's been dealing with the ankle for a few games now, but was just very fine against Washington on it. But obviously, he said he thought his ankle was gone when he went down, and obviously the cameras caught him in a lot of pain. But was able to go back in and out of the lineup. So something that he spoke to us post game. He went up there. He was the first one to go up to the podium. So it's probably something he's going to be dealing with even to a greater extent now for the remainder of the season. That's just going to be the reality. Xavier Howard. It seemed like the hip. It was never really announced as officially because he went back in so quickly, sort of before they could even send out whether he's questionable or out, or so. He was already back in, but he was grabbing at the hip. I don't think as of tonight anything too serious. He finished it off, but probably something that we see on the injury report, and then the team has to monitor on this short week as he starts feeling the residuals of it. And who else? We know Deshaun Elliott. So then he wasn't in at the end, so he did come back in, but then checked back out. So he also had the ribs to go with that concussion evaluation. So that's something that's most likely going to linger, and then now you have to monitor that through this short week before facing the Jets.
676 games. You know what that is?
Is that Dolphins all time? How many they've played? What?
Last time a team gave up a 14-point lead with less than 3 minutes left in it.
Ooh, where'd you get the stat? So how many? How long ago was that?
670. I don't know. Now you're asking me. I'm not a math major, bro. Okay, I'm a dumbass. I'm just saying.
I thought you might have seen it in the same tweet or whatever it was.
Music. That's it, and crypto. That's it. That's all I know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything else in life. So I don't know what that equates to, but it's been 676 games since the last time a team gave up a 14-point lead with less than 3 minutes left in the game. That's not good.
But wherever you got it from, they didn't have the which team beat which.
I did not see the thing, but
okay, yeah.
That's your job. So when I read your article,
as soon as I get off with it, I'm gonna look it up.
There you go. That's your job now.
Because now I have to get that in my article.
All right, what do you got going on, the Sun Sentinel now? You got plenty to talk about now with this debacle.
Yeah, right. So, looking at wrapping up on this and getting home at this hour, and then I'll recalibrate tomorrow. Before I know we'll follow up with McDaniel. Probably get all the updates. Connor Williams, definitely look out for that. That'll be the big injury news, I'm sure, tomorrow, and then it goes straight into it. A short week before the Jets, but staying at home at least. So got a home game stretch here to get through in December.
There you go. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. He knows how to get it done. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up some Thursday, I think, right?
Okay.
We'll catch up
yeah.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You got it. There you go, David Furones. It's Dolphins and Jets week. All right, let's go. What do we got here on the Super Chats? Remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. You can send in a Bitcoin donation and send in a question, comment, insult, whatever you want. We will take it. Justin Blasco on Cash App. Tell Eddie to relax. Loss will come. Relax, loss will come. Or I don't know what that means, but thank you, Justin. Appreciate you, my brother. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And let me see what we got here. Anthony Lizzie. Is Claypool that bad that he didn't run a fade in the end zone? Disappointing we can't carve out a role for this guy. That's on McDaniel. It's on McDaniel. Now, he had that knee surgery, but he was dressed, and I saw him leap over and avoid guys that were coming. So he's got his hops there with him. Yeah, that's on McDaniel that he doesn't use Cedric Wilson or Claypool. Okay? Just for 2 or 3 plays. Hey, you're going to be our fade guy. This, that, whatever. And that's it. Run it a couple times. Jeffrey Armstrong, thank you for the love on Venmo. My wife is breaking my balls for donating, but she buys dumb shit on Amazon. Tell her she's wrong. You really want me to do that, Jeffrey? I've been married for 33 years. I don't know if that's a good idea. How about this? How about both of you are able to enjoy your passions? Yours is sports talk and hers is buying something on Amazon. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way it is. You got to there's got to be compromise in the relationship. You got to work at it, You got to understand each other's passions. And thank you, Jeffrey. You got to understand, Mrs. Anthony. He is supporting our platform. We are self-employed. We are not with a major corporation or anything like that. It's just Sean and I, okay? So we provide this service. And so Jeffrey is so kind to support us in many ways. You go to a restaurant and you tip somebody that gives you great service and those kind of things. So basically, that's what Jeffrey's doing. He's sending in a tip saying, hey, what Sean Stanley does every single day is absolutely appreciated. What Orlando does is kind of appreciated, whatever. And so I'm going to throw him a couple bucks. I'm going to throw him some Bitcoin. That's what he's doing. That's all, Mrs. Anthony. Nothing more, nothing less. And we appreciate him. He's actually being a great soul. And you, as a wife, should be proud of him for being a great soul because he is being selfless there and he is sharing. So there you go. And he gets the exchange with us and talk some stuff. Or maybe in your eyes, it's crap what we're talking, which I kind of get it. Steve M. Oh, possibly the dumbest thing Tua did all night was deciding to run headfirst into a linebacker. Yeah, that was dumb shit. Steve M. Facts are facts. And he's got a slide. Yes. Sometimes he gets a little crazy. He's my Yorkie Tua. It's kind of the same thing. Alejandro Vargas says, you've been saying since last year there are situations where McDaniel outsmarts himself instead of just taking the simple play. Yes. McDaniel's a really smart man that does some stupid things at times. Yes. And thank you all out there for the donations, Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. Peter German chimes in again. Thank you, Peter. Very, 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 very nice today. Well, you're always, but I mean, very generous today. McDaniel's very predictable. Tendencies I've noticed They love the toss play to the right to begin every game. There's way too little game planning around players other than Tyreek. What will you do in the playoffs when opponents take away your primary threat? Can't argue. Can't argue with any of that, dude. That's 100% on target. Okay? You nailed it. So thank you all. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Let's go to the Super Chats. What's up first, Sean? Toby Marmorino. Marino had an Achilles surgery. It just didn't, right. It didn't heal, right? He played without an Achilles for the rest of his career. That's why he had this. I used to watch him in the locker room. He'd put on this big ass boot. Dude, Marino looked like RoboCop by the end. He had shoulder pads, rib cages. He had that thing on his ankle. He had some thigh pads. He had all kinds of crap, dude, all over the place. He carried like an extra 40 pounds, 50 pounds of equipment, man, to just keep it. He was a tough son of a bitch. I don't think people realize how tough Marino was and playing through all that shit. And he was a freak of freaks. Next up, thank you, sir, for the super chat. What's up? It is Toby again. Tired of fades to Hill. Use Claypool, damn it. Use Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson. He high-pointed a ball for you just a couple of weeks ago. Why are we using Oompa Loompas all the time? I get it. And by the way, the Tua haters love this because they don't understand it. Smart people are like bad coaching. You're supposed to use a taller player that can high point the ball. Using a shorter player, you make it harder on your quarterback. But no, if it's incomplete or intercepted, who gives a shit? It's all on Tua. But it couldn't be on McDaniel that he didn't use his intelligence. No, Tua haters. No, you can't do that. It has to be all on Tua. Next up, please. That's it? Okay. All right. Wycheck to Dyson. Oh yeah, man. The Frank Wycheck story is so sad. Dying by yourself, whatever it is, you hit your head, you fell, and nobody's there for you. That's the nightmare of all nightmares for all of us. My God, it's not good. Crazy Anthony says it's called outsmarting yourself when playing checkers. You don't use a room, Pong, King, Queen. Yep. Frankie Fresco says, Big O, I'm concerned about the Jets game, and the fans at the stadium were shocked. 90% Dolphins crowd. Yeah, well, that's how it goes. Listen, there's a lot. Most of this shit is self-inflicted. It's up to them if they want to keep doing this. If McDaniel wants to keep making it harder on his offense, you go ahead, dude. You go ahead. But he's got to change his ways. And he's got, he's still in his second year. He's got stuff to prove. But he went very Shanahan with the Falcons and a 25-point lead against Tom Brady. And, dedicate yourself to the run more. And you can't do that stuff. What can I tell you? It's frustrating. That's all it is. It's just absolutely frustrating watching this team at time. Andrew Watson on Venmo. Thank you, sir. Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. Big O, Tua played like shit. Wife tells me sitting next to me she doesn't believe in Tua, and it seems the team spends too much time practicing dancing than being serious. My wife loves Big O. Say hi to my wife, Joy. Hello, Joy. Hello, Joy Watson. And you are correct. Tua played like shit today. He doesn't deserve the love today. Everybody played like crap. Now, I will say, you lost by 1. You had a missed snap inside the red zone, which would have been 3 or 7. Had nothing to do with Tua. You had a block field goal, 3 more points. Had nothing to do with Tua. Tua threw a beautiful 50-yard bomb in the air, 50-yard from the 8 to the 47 of the other yard. And Achan chose to slow down instead of continuing his stride. And that could have been a beautiful bomb that I don't know where would have ended up. You know what I'm saying? So Tua did not play well. I'm not giving him any breaks whatsoever. He had a Chan out in the flats, and he overthrew him like it was, what the hell was that? Okay? I'm with you there. But, watching Waddle run 2 routes that he wasn't supposed to run, one almost ended up in an interception that they would have blamed Tua, but it would have been on Waddle. And, him saying there and going, oh, it's on me, it's on me. So Tua played like shit. Yes. But the people around him contributed to a whole bunch of it, which would have led to a win, no matter what. And it would have been an ugly win. But since you lose, it becomes an ugly loss, and it becomes an even uglier picture you paint for Tua Tagovailoa. That's the life of a quarterback. That's the life he's going to have to live. That's the life he has chosen. But if you are objective, there were a lot of contributing factors to it. It's like the Kansas City game. Both quarterbacks threw for 190 yards. There were only a couple of plays to be made in the Kansas City game. You were only going to get a couple on those defenses that day. Both defenses played outstanding that day. Unfortunately, the defense that showed up against Kansas City did not show up today against Will Levis. It shows up against Mahomes and Kelsey, but not against Will Levis. But anyway, and in that game, Tua threw a beautiful bomb to Tyreek Hill. That would have been points, right? And that would have decided the game. And then Tyreek Hill had a fumble that gave 7 points away. Tyreek alone. But how's the narrative? Oh, Tua failed in that Kansas City game. And by the way, Tyreek dropped another pass also. It was a little behind him, but he still should have caught it. But I won't even pick on that one. The bomb, I'll lay it all on him, and that was points. So, it's well-deserved criticism of Tua Tagovailoa. But let's also be honest, the criticism is spread out. And many deserve the criticism today, not just Tua Tagovailoa. So thank you, Mrs. Watson. Elementary, my dear Mrs. Watson. Andrew Watson comes back with another Venmo. He says, because my wife liked the mention and loves to shop too. There you go. There, she loves to shop, just like Jeffrey Anthony's wife. There you go. I like it. Mrs. Anthony and Mrs. Watson sharing some time with us here on the post-game show. I like it. Toby Marmorino, Tia versus Rich Eisen in the 40. Who you got? Oh, you mean Tua? Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to give it to Tua slightly over Rich Eisen. Rich has, since Rich, he's bald, he's more aerodynamic. If he maybe takes off the jacket, that would also, hold him back a little bit. Maybe he's close. That's a tight race, Toby. That's a good one. Brian Diaz, thank you for the love in the super chat. What's your opinion on pass protection today? To me, it seemed he didn't have a pocket on. Well, he had some. Here's the problem. Okay. All right, here we go. So one of the magic things that has happened is for this offense is that they get rid of the ball quickly, right? And that's because your first read is Tyreek Hill a lot of times, and you're not staying with him, so he can shake his defender within 2 seconds, right? Now, when Tyreek is out, injured, or if they're doubling him, then you got to go to the second one. Now you've got, 3 or 4 linemen now that you're replacing. It's 4, right? Jackson is Austin Jackson. Yeah, once Connor went, you had 4 in, right? So once Connor Jackson went out, you had 4 guys that were replacing him. All of a sudden now, to get to your second and third read, you don't have that much time. That's why you've got to run more. You need to have the linebackers on their heels. On their toes. You need to have them coming forward, opening up the area in the back, in the middle of the field, so Tua can work the middle of the field. But if you just pass, they know exactly. And when Tyreek goes off the field, it's like, okay, you know what we're going to do now. And you're predictable at times, which is kind of weird. So it becomes a crazy dynamic for the Dolphins. Go back to this one right here. Okay, it's not that his offensive line was great. No. His two guys on the left side were great. The rest of the line was never great. It's just that guy made a super quick decision and helped the offensive line. They did their part, just like this one's doing their part, but Tua and Marino did their part that they got rid of it quickly. There's only one difference, and it's huge. Okay? Marino's radar was better than Tua's, and Marino's arm is better than Tua, and Marino could spread it around better than Tua because he's just a better quarterback. It's just the way it is. There's no knock on Tua. I love Tua. I'm a big Tua guy. Okay? So now you're in this dynamic that you now have to get to your second and third read, but you don't have the protection. So it becomes a bigger challenge for him. And since he's not a superb athlete or anything like that, he's not going to be shaking defenders and he's not going to be outrunning defenders. That's going to be a struggle for him. That's always been a struggle for him. That's not something that, Breeze did or Montana did or Brady does or Payman. These guys are running away from people. Okay? They're statues. Like that commercial. They're statues. That's kind of what it is. And so when you have these kind of statuesque quarterbacks, you need to design the offense the proper way. And one of the things that he has failed to dedicate himself to a run game to complement the quarterback a lot better. You don't have a strong tight end, which would be an incredible safety valve for Tua, but Tua doesn't have any confidence or any consistency from that position. And I was telling you before the game that maybe Julian Hill will become a bigger part, and I didn't see him today. And I thought he was coming around the last couple of weeks. I did not see him today. And then you're not passing enough to the backs, which is, again, some of it is on them. I've already told you they chased the tight end. They chased one last year and they chased one this year. Okay? They just couldn't find the target that they had, and the kid is tearing it up this year already. The guy they wanted is just, he didn't fall to them, unfortunately. It is what it is. They're looking for that dynamic tight end. They just haven't found him. They tried to trade for the other guy that went to the Giants from the Raiders, and then this time they tried to get the guy from the Lions. And unfortunately, Laporta didn't fall to them, and it is what it is. They're trying to get him, but they need that. Tua needs that, but the fact that McDaniel doesn't produce more around Tyreek and Waddle, that falls on him. He's got to do a better job of play designing. He's got to do a better job of running the ball to complement your quarterback. Most of these quarterbacks, you just can't leave them back there sitting and throwing the ball 50 times. They'll die. Every one of them, pretty much. It's Mahomes and Burrow, and I don't even know if there's another one. Back in the day, it's funny. You can let Warren Moon throw it 50 times. You can let Jim Kelly throw it 50 times. You can let Marino throw it 50 times. You had more guys back in those days that you could allow to sling it a lot, and you can kind of trust them to do that. That just doesn't happen nowadays. There's just not a lot of those kind of guys. It's hard. It's not an easy thing. Let's see. And thank you, Brian. Frankie says, saw Cam at the stadium and told him Wolfpack strong. There you go. I like it. Antonio Ingram, thank you for the love in the super chat, my man. Self-inflicted wounds on all 4 losses. Amen to that. Amen to that. But you got to play smarter, man. You got to play smarter. Same old Dolphins for 30 years. That's what they deserve. I don't believe they are the same old Dolphins, but they did it. This team is way more talented. Let me tell you, I am so disappointed in McDaniel today and Fangio to a certain extent. I can lay it on all the players too and point out a bunch of shit the players did, but man, the coaching for me was really, really mediocre today. Really mediocre today. I just got this bottle a little bit ago. I've already gone through half of it. Big O, this was, thank you, Devin, by the way. Again, thank you for the super chat. Big O, this was obviously a complete meltdown by the defense. Yes, it was. I'm not going to panic yet, but if we somehow lose to the stinky Jets, then it's, oh, yeah. Oh, dude, you lose to the MILF Master and the Jets. Yeah, oh, yeah, no, it's Panic City. Yes, Panic City. Yes. You got to, I just saw U2 this weekend twice. And they've got a song on their set list that's dedicated to Las Vegas that they just wrote for Las Vegas. It's called Atomic City. Yeah, this would be Panic City. Like an atomic bomb went off in the Dolphin Nation if you lose to the Jets next weekend. I don't believe they will. I hope this is a wake-up call. Mike McDaniel pulled a crystal ball tonight. Oh, God, it is kind of true, man. Finn Rule says, I just received my Tua jersey tonight and he played like crap. Did I jinx Tua? Should I return the jersey? Nah, he'll be fine, dude. He'll be fine. Don't overreact. Tua will be fine too. I'm not worried about it. The Drew says they are the same old Finns. I mean, listen, they deserve it. I don't believe they are, but how can I argue with you guys, on that one? You want to say that about them? It's legitimate. This may be the more talented, but seeing the same crap the bedtime in prime time rearing its ugly head makes it worse because you know how good they should be playing. Resolute Graphics, my brother. I wish I could have a discussion with you and have an argument with you and say you're wrong on that, but it's well deserved, my man. It's well deserved, and you are 1,000% right what you're saying. Do the Dolphins sign a center? They have a center in the at this point. Green Lion, there isn't much out there, bro. Okay, there isn't much out there, and Liam Eichenberg seems to kind of struggle when you throw him in the fire right away. If he now practices for the week, I bet you he plays better next week against the Jets. Okay. But it seems like when you just throw him out there like that, if you give him time to practice, then he'll get better. He did have a high snap too, by the way, also in the game. I don't know if you noticed it. Can look past teams. Every damn team has a chance has a chance. Need not to look past teams like the Titans. Amen. You are correct. Big O, I'm going to be honest, but I'm not liking Brandon Jones' game out the. Oh, man, I thought Brandon caused that fumble, too. I think Brandon's all right, man. Is he perfect? No, but I think Brandon's done some things. He's had some good moments and some bad moments. It's a new scheme for him. He's coming off an injury. I got to give him some time to kind of get acclimated to all of this. Remember, he's a young guy. That coverage was his bugaboo coming out of school. And he started to improve it last year before he got injured. So the strength of what you need to carry on this defense, his coverage skills, these are things he has to sharpen while learning the defense. So we have to be fair at times to players. It's like some guy goes to me, oh, Duke Riley got burned there. And I go, well, brother, Taj Spears out in the open field. 90% of the linebackers in the NFL aren't going to stay with them in the open field. That was kind of the idea, that they got a mismatch on them instead of with a DB. They got a linebacker. And why? Because most linebackers don't have the speed to stay with Spears. Wasn't anything on Duke Riley. He did his best, but he was kind of mismatched at that moment. It's not on Duke. It's kind of, sometimes we have to also look at the big picture and then kind of look at everything going on before we completely criticize something, because there are other factors that you may not be actually taking in to the equation that kind of affect what's actually going on. Devin says, Big O, I admit I'm definitely concerned with all the injuries in the O-line. If the O-line can't protect Tua, we're in a world of trouble. Amen? Yeah, you're in a world of trouble if you can never protect your quarterback. Big O, isn't it past your bedtime? Well, last night I didn't sleep because I had the overnight. I had the red eye. God, that was American Airlines. Man, you guys. Wow. That was bad last night, American Airlines. I mean, it was bad. I had a half-hour delay from Miami to Vegas. We're on the tarmac waiting for a half hour for no reason. And then last night, they figured out the plane wasn't ready to go. And so then they had to switch his planes and, loading a plane and then unloading the whole plane to then load a plane again. It took forever. It was a 2.5 hour, 2:45, 2 hours and 45-minute delay. And it's a red eye already as it is. It was a long day. It's a long day. So yes, it is kind of past my bedtime. 2 nights in a row, I'm way past my bedtime. I think I'm going to do a later show tomorrow. What do you think about a later show start tomorrow, Sean? What do you think about that? You got any issues with that? I don't really want to do one at 10 a.m., to be quite honest. Andrew Watson says, in offseason, Ryan Clark called Tua fat and got scorched. But to me, it doesn't look like Tua has gained weight since the season started. He's absolutely no mobility and looks clumpy out there. Does the team monitor their players' weight during the season? He can't. No, but Andrew, that's who he is. It's not something that's ever going to change. Did you think Marino was ever going to run away from anybody? You think Peyton Manning was going to run away from anybody? You think Tom Brady was going to run away from anybody? Greasy had some mobility in his Purdue days, a little bit early on, but then later on in his career, he had no mobility either. A lot of guys are like that. Dan Fouts had no mobility. Some guys are like that. Joe Flacco has no mobility. The league is littered with players, quarterbacks that don't necessarily have great mobility, and they had great success. But you have to understand what you have. Okay, we know what we have, right? So let's protect Tom Brady. Give him a pocket. Allow him to make a decision. Peyton Manning, we know what we have. Let's give him a pocket. Tua's no different than those kind of guys. Give him the pocket, give him time, and call the game the way it's supposed to be called. Mike McDaniel, run the goddamn ball. Compliment your players. I'm disturbed from that game anyways. Keeps going, bro. Now I got Airplane movie in my head. The red zone is for the loading and unloading of passengers, and the red zone is for shut up. You just want a divorce. Yep. Point counterpoint. Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. Dan Fouts was a telephone post. Yeah, man. Warren Moon couldn't run around. Warren Moon wasn't going to live on his legs. Drew Brees wasn't going to live on his legs. Drew Brees. Lots of quarterbacks don't live on their legs. They got to learn how to play the game. Brock Purdy doesn't live on his legs. That's not what you want Brock Purdy doing, running around or anything like that. That's not his thing. There's lots of guys like that. It's not. I love how the Tua haters like to make things look like it's just Tua that it happens to, and when it's so many others have the same types of characteristics and do the same kind of things. It's just the people around you have to understand what you have and then build it properly. That way you can succeed. Because he can throw, read, and is accurate and all that stuff. Well, then do all the other things that you need in order to win. That's all. It's pretty simple. It's really not that difficult. $50 down the drain today, Moneyline Dolphins. Damn. Wasn't a good odds either. Really? You threw money on that? I didn't bet because it was just too much. It's too many points. I don't like that. Yeah, I didn't. And I didn't follow the live line, and I'm glad I didn't because I might have had faith that they would have come back and I would have lost. Oh man! Now I hear the Giants fan that Tommy Cutlets is the man. What a sad football night. Yep, there you go. What's up, Sean?
The line never moved from plus 250 for the I was following it. It never moved to give the Dolphins anything, even when they were leading.
It was still negative.
We were still the favorite.
Yeah, I would have never played the money line. It's just too much. It's just you're not getting any value back. I'm about value, dude. That's how when you make investments, you want to make something that You're going to turn value on it, you know? That's what it is, unfortunately. Took it down to 4.5 and 3.5 and got burned on both. You know, Matthew Lyon, I would have been there right there with you if I just didn't have time to follow it because I was following the game. I'm answering and going on Twitter with you guys. I'm taking notes, all that kind of stuff, you know? So that's why I'm kind of caught in the middle with all of that stuff. The Ingold hurdle was fun. Tua versus Tart was not smart. Holding by Lester Cotton was a brutal call. Not that it was a bad call, Cotton. Tua overthrowing a Chan in the flats. That was absolutely terrible. The horse collar for Tyreek, it was kind of like a horse collar in a way. That was terrible. Waddle not running 2 routes the right way, almost one leading into an interception. Let's see what else. By the way, this is the 3rd consecutive game, first time in history, that the Miami Dolphins have a game with a pick 6. That's actually pretty cool. What else do we have? I mean, it's just there was just stuff there that it was a rough night, man. It was a rough night. It was one that none of us will be satisfied with, unfortunately. You know, newsflash: McD, the bubble screen ain't working. I know, right? But remember what he says. It's a bad play because it didn't work. It's not a bad play because it constantly doesn't work. That's it's like, how can you tell me that, coach? You keep saying that about something that constantly doesn't work, like you abandoning the run inside the red zone and you using the bubble screen, that you keep calling it and it keeps failing on you. That same decision that you're making keeps failing on you. So at what point does it not become just a bad decision? That's what those are the moments that you got to look at and go, come on, coach, let's go. Let's figure this shit out. Coach James, thank you for the love on the Cash App, sir. Appreciate you big time. Thank you. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Yes, sir.
I guess some good news from the game. Raheem Mostert, with his 2 touchdowns today, has tied the Miami Dolphins single season record for rushing TDs, 16, held by Ricky Williams since 2002. And he's also tied the team's single season total touchdown record, 18, set by Mark Clayton in 1984.
And what a concept! If the coach would actually stick to the run more, he would have broken all those records already. Anyway, what we have Tua, right? Let's hear from the quarterback of your Miami Dolphins.
The NFL, anything can happen. We got to do a better job finishing the game with the time that we had while we had the ball, not allowing their opposing team's offense to get that opportunity to go down and potentially score.
He went from Chipmunk to Barry White. What was that? Am I on? Can you guys hear me? But he sounded at first like a chipmunk, and then he went into Barry White. I wasn't sure. First of all, I was like, eh? And then after, I wanted to call my wife and say, hey, we got some Barry White on, sweetheart. Let's jam.
It's a team sport. Can't blame one side, but I would say from an offensive standpoint, there's things that we could have done a lot better to not have gone through what we've gone through tonight.
do you think? I know Tyreek was in and out of the game with the ankle, but what do you think was kind of for the disjointed passing game? Another run game, you guys hit 160 yards. Passing game, what kind of gave you guys troubles?
Well, I think what they wanted game plan wise was to put a shell over our team, forcing us to run the ball, forcing us to beat them that way. But when you have someone like Tyreek go down, it does make it tough. But then when you also have a couple of your key O linemen go down as well, it does hurt. It does hurt the guys up front and sort of the way we want to operate.
I also wanted to ask about that. I guess what was kind of the hardest part? Obviously, Connor Williams goes down. You're already without Teron and Rob Hunt. What was kind of the hardest part of getting things aligned?
Well, I think one of the toughest parts of that is a lot of those guys haven't gotten reps at some of the positions. It's not to say that we practice for situations like this to happen. It just so happened that Connor went down and we already had a couple of our guys out. But needless to say, I know the guys up front will get better. I know the guys, around me will get better. I will continue to get better. And that's the only way we can grow. We just got to watch the tape. Tough loss tonight, but it's going to linger like this if we don't do anything about that.
The final 4th and 2, can you break that play down from your perspective?
Well, the play happened. Trying to look for an eligible, and then as I try to maneuver through the pocket, I was trying to get a clear lane to find someone, but that's how that went.
So how much of a, collaborative process is the play calling in the red zone? Once you get close to the goal line, has Mike ever asked, what do you see here? Do you chip in, or is it pretty much making the decisions?
We talk about those decisions as far as plays that we like down there with what their defense runs. The night before, we sort of go over, talk about each play and reasons as to why we would call this versus this or that versus this. So the plays that he's called, that's sort of what we went over and what we trusted as far as what we saw on tape from the Titans.
We've seen some Dolphin teams in the past have a loss like this in December and things kind of snowball. As one of the leaders here, how do you keep that from happening when you have a result like that at the end of the game?
Yeah, I don't think this is the same Dolphins team that everyone thinks about. We got a lot of really good players. We got really good coaches, and it's one loss. It's home this year. It's not like the world ends because we lost this game. We're human. We'll continue to get better from this. This is the NFL. No one's perfect. So that's that.
Tua, you now have over 1,000 career completions. Just doing it at this stage in your career, just thinking about back to last year. What are some things that you appreciate the most to get that done here at our stadium?
I'm appreciative for the entire journey that I've had since I got here. The draft process, the games that I've been able to go in, the people that I've been able to learn from. But as far as right now, I'm not even worried about any of that. I'm not even thinking of that. I'm a little disappointed that we put out that type of performance offensively, and should have never been that way today.
What was your perspective on the lost fumble play down near the opponent's goal line?
That was my fault. I got to catch the snap. I don't get as many reps with Liam in practice. I get some reps as far as quarterback center exchange, but because Connor's our starting center, that's the only person I'm working with as far as getting those reps. So I just got to continue to work those with Liam, but that's not his fault. That's my fault, and I'll get better from it.
Did you have a firm grasp on the ball after you picked it up?
I did, but the problem there is I didn't drop. I picked it up and turned to throw it already, and the defender was already in my face, and he made a good play on hitting the ball. That's no one else's fault but mine.
Anything else? Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Mike will be last.
All right, there you go. That is quarterback.
It's the NFL. Anything.
There we go. Okay, now we got it. Nothing surprising there. I know Joe Shad asking and Tua taking the blame, which is not true. It's Eichenberg's fault, but we never are going to get honesty from them there because they're all going to take responsibility. And since, Eichenberg's going to take responsibility, Tua will take responsibility, and then Mike McDaniel will take responsibility. And, it was on Eichenberg. And I want to see what Eichenberg does next week because I think he'll actually play better. And I know some of you don't want to hear this. I agree. It's not the same Dolphins team. They just have to go out and prove it. This team's too talented, man. Too talented. Too talented to screw this up. Too talented to, lose this game. And Tua's right. They put on a shit performance on offense. And if you're playing a shell on the top he was talking about, that gives you more reason to run the shit out of the ball. Terrible decision by Mike McDaniel. You don't have to force something when it's not there. And if they're playing away like the Patriots did that first time where they played the shell and Miami just ran the crap out of it, then that's what you do. Oh, that's what you want to do? Okay, this is what we're going to do. And until you change that, then we'll change. But McDaniel, it's like picadillo, and that's what it is. For those of you that are late to the program, I figured out why Mike McDaniel does not stick to the run. Mike McDaniel used to be a run coordinator. So he has nightmares of that. Now as a head coach, he doesn't want to keep running because it reminds him of being a run coordinator. Kind of like when I was a kid. Mom didn't have all the money in the world, right? So there was a lot of ground beef in the house. And in Spanish, we call it picadillo. And so I ate a lot of picadillo. And I ate so much picadillo that I hate ground beef. And I won't have it with my food. In fact, if I see it, I stay away from it. In fact, when I have tacos, it'll be fish, it'll be steak, it'll be chicken, it'll be anything, but it won't be ground beef. Because of my childhood, I had so much ground beef. I don't want any ground beef. Okay? I'll take it with a hamburger because I have no choice. It is what it is. But that's kind of... So McDaniel and I have a lot in common when it comes to the run game and ground beef. So I figured it out. So I want you guys to know that. Okay. They said after the first quarter, they were playing inside out on defense and were daring them to throw outside the numbers. Yeah, I heard Vrabel's thing. They needed to run the ball, bro. That's what they needed to do. Run the ball and run the ball like crazy. It was you play with what they tell you to do. Picadillo is the best, not when you've had it too much. Not when they just want to make that for you all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? So, Finn's rule, what about a hamburger? No, I'm talking about just regular food. You don't have any... I don't know if this goes on, and I don't know if any of my Anglo friends or Italian friends or Jamaican friends or, different cultures... I don't know how just plain old ground beef with rice, if that's something popular in your house, but, ground beef. And then some people use the little Vienna sausages and things like that with rice and all that, right? When, ground beef and chicken are the cheapest things you can find in food. And so I had too much, bro. It was just too much. It's too much. I'm scarred. I'm scarred badly. I'm hurting. Okay. By the way, if you are hurting, okay, Welton Rayom can help you if you're hurting with bankruptcy, condo damage, criminal defense, homeowner property damage, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Please call my guys, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. Jeff Welt is a monster Dolphin fan. He is hurting right now. He is hurting big time. So call him. And listen, with these new rules now, that new laws that our governor put in place, not very good. It doesn't protect us. Your lawyers are more important than ever. More important than ever. 954-966-4646. Anywhere in South Florida. Hell, one of our listeners that lives in Orlando. So even anywhere in Florida, just call them. 954-966-4646. Everything can be done pretty much by the phone. Consultation is completely free. So if you think you have a case, call them. 954-966-4646. Completely agree. He needs to run the ball, especially when you're getting 5 yards per carry. Dude, he didn't run the ball when they were getting 6.7 yards a carry. He refused to run the ball when they were averaging 9 yards against Green Bay and 7 yards against the Bills. And he abandoned the run. He does this all the time. All the time. He makes it harder on his quarterback and his offense. And the ground game is something that it forces you to dictate tempo to the opponent. It's amazing. Wow, Big O plugs at 2:04. You know it, baby. You know it. I'm from the ghetto. I grew up on eggs, rice, and picadillo. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? I had too much goddamn picadillo. I don't know if the old lady thought it was like something, Yeah, well, I'm Italian who loves Mexican food. It's different like with Mexican food in a way. I kind of get it, but you're going to mix it up with Mexican food. This will be enchiladas and burritos and tacos. And so it's kind of mixed differently. Brother, when it's just rice and picadillo every day, oh my God, that's just, I had enough. But I hate the fact that Mike McDaniel has treated the running game like my picadillo. It's just kind of rough. Big O, if the Dolphins pull the same crap against the Jets, how concerned I would be very concerned. No, they'll make the playoffs because they're going to sneak in the playoffs, but they need to. This is not about backing in like last year. You're healthier. You need to play better. You need to coach better. Let me tell you something. Let's get into the really juicy part about all of this now. Okay? Backs against the wall, baby. Right? And it happened right now in the fourth quarter. Game was on the line. You had to have the drive. Tua was confident. And shit went awry. And you crapped the bed. Okay? Well, it happens. Everybody fails in life. You fail. I fail. We all fail. Okay? Let's not paint this picture like all of us are successful in everything we do and that everybody should be successful. And in football, every play is successful and every draft pick is successful and every contract is successful and every decision is successful. And no, it's not like that. There's failure. There's failure in life. Okay? And I always say that success is fed off of failure. That's what feeds success, because you become a good businessman by making a shitload of mistakes early on, right? You become a great race car driver after you've made a whole bunch of mistakes and wrecked a bunch of cars. Okay? So everybody's got to make mistakes before you succeed. Now you've made your mistakes. You have your labels. You can't beat good teams. Now you finally lost to a bad team. Your coaching is being questioned. Your quarterback's being questioned. Your defensive coordinator failed you tonight. Defensive players failed tonight that are getting paid a lot of money. They failed tonight. Backs against the wall. How do you respond? And while a lot of you some of you are just want to lean on the negative of all of this, well, you know what? What if they lose to the Jets? What if they do this? Well, what if they bounce back from all of this? So let's find out. Time's going to tell. We're going to find out how serious the Connor Williams injury is. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and it's over for him and let's move on and let's find somebody. Maybe the guy comes back in a couple of weeks. I don't know, dude. I have no idea. Let's see what this team does. Maybe they lose 3 or 4. Maybe they win all 4. And if they do, you're going to forget about all of this shit. So this is the beauty of this all. There's a lot of drama. Hard Knocks will have a lot of drama built up for this episode this week. Right? Okay? They're probably doing a lot of editing here overnight to try to get it ready for tonight, since we're already in Tuesday. They got their drama, baby. Ooh, they got the sensationalism. They got all the sauce. They got all the ingredients. But all the ingredients are there, too, to be great. All the ingredients are there to have a great story ending to all of this. So everything can be spun negatively. Everything can be spun on a positive way, too. Let's allow the time to figure this thing out. Because a couple weeks from now, this may be just more chapters of what we saw tonight. Or this may be just, hey, man, blip in the radar. You're going to lose some games. It's the NFL. There you go. So we'll find out. What do you got, Sean?
Brandon Liguri, you know him from local10.com?
Yes. What about him?
22 minutes ago, hearing from a source close to Miami Dolphins center Connor Williams that in the first quarter of tonight's 28-27 loss versus Tennessee, Williams is feared to have suffered a torn ACL in his left knee, which would likely end his 2023 season. And then we heard from head coach Mike McDaniel saying tomorrow they'll evaluate it more.
Right. And it'll take a lot to keep Connor out.
That's the other thing that Mike McDaniel said, that it's going to take a lot to keep him down.
Right. So he throws that extra sauce out there to just it'll take a lot. Yeah, like a blown knee ligament. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see, dude. We'll see. And who's that from Channel 10 that reported that? Moser?
No, Brandon Liguri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. He's at local10.com. He covers the Dolphins, Marlins, and
so are you telling Channel 10?
Yeah, he's with local10.com. Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know him at all.
Okay, no, that's why I asked at the beginning, because I see that he's got Local 10 on his things and everything, but so
no Rappaport.
I have not seen anything from a Rappaport or anything as of right now.
No Schefter, no Pelissero, because usually the agents will give it to those guys first than anything else. So none of the national guys have got it, and this guy has got ACL. Okay. I know that the Dolphins are very, very, very tight on injury stuff. They don't like to talk about it. So, because I try, and it's hard. It's hard. You reach people there, and they'll talk to me about a lot of other things, but injuries is one that they like to stay away from. They don't want to be caught in any kind of a mess, which I totally understand, by the way. I try, and it's not, man, listen, I don't chase stories. I get them, they come to me, and I'll give them, I'll pass on the information to you guys, but I'm not the guy going around chasing all this kind of shit. I used to do that years ago. I just don't do that anymore. It's not, I don't have time for it anymore, to be quite honest. Joe Blow, you're right, Big O. Got to regroup and change the narrative Sunday. We got to change our game plan, which is deep to hill. Yes. Yes. The guy who promised 10 wins a season, cursed of forcing Shula out. I don't know who that is, but I don't know. Anyway. I know Omar. I know Omar has Connor Williams out for the season, but I don't know. Again, we'll find out. We'll find out. And I think Omar said, like, did he? I got to look at it. Did he say for sure ACL and out for the season, or what it seems? I think is how he reported it, right? Some shit like that. Let me see. Let me see. I'll look it up for you here. Oh. I'm not seeing anything yet. It's hard for me to do this in the middle of the show to kind of look for the Connor Williams tweet. So the Dolphins basically have one starter. No, yeah, I know that. Connor Williams likely to finish without Dolphins likely to finish without Connor Williams. So likely is what he reported. Connor Williams suffered what appears to be a serious knee injury that would likely end his season, could impact his free agency. So he didn't report ACL or anything, or he doesn't have any facts. It's, yeah, of course, it looks like it. Of course, they rolled up on it. Anybody can say the same thing. That's not a actual factual report. You know, the guy on PLG now, he's going out on a limb saying it is ACL, he said, right? ACL tear, right? So he's giving specifically that it's an ACL, not an MCL, not an LCL, not a PCL. It's 4 different ligaments. You never know. Is it the lateral collateral ligament? Is it the medial collateral ligament? Is it the anterior cruciate ligament? You know, you don't know. So it's just one of those that, and when you're doing the injury stuff, be careful. Be careful what you're reporting. You better have it right, because you are dealing with somebody's livelihood, and they have family members, they have friends, and then they hear that and it's not accurate, and it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? But I listen, I hope it's wrong. I don't want the guy from WPLG to be wrong, because he's a young reporter, whatever, and he's doing his job, and hopefully he did a good job with it and he got the story right. But hopefully he is wrong, because hopefully Connor can come back somehow. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Listen, it didn't look good. I'm going to wait, because we've seen too many things that don't look good, and then they somehow come back and they're miraculous. You know what I'm saying? By the way, everyone here is an animal talking fins at 2:15 on a Monday, Tuesday morning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A little bit of picadillo for Williams with a banana, and he'll be good to go. All right. Duct tape it up, and he'll be back out there. Appreciate the late night coverage, Big O. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for supporting us in a big time way. And with that said, I think it is time for us to call it a night. Wrap it up. We got to get some rest. I got to do another show tomorrow. I don't think it'll be at 10 a.m. Something tells me I'm going to be up a little bit later, up a little later on the show. I can't even go to sleep right away. It's hard for me to go to sleep like right away right now. Right now, I'm so jacked from doing this that I need to kind of calm down. I got to, I'll watch TV now probably till 3 a.m. Tire myself out and then go to sleep. Like, there's no way I'm going to bed now. I don't know if some of you are like that, but if you're working and you've got the adrenaline going, there's no way I can just dive into bed. It's so weird, man. It's I'm an odd bird. What can I tell you? But thanks to all of you out there that sent in any super chats. I appreciate it. Cash App or Venmo, whenever you're listening to the show. Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And you can always make a Bitcoin donation, which we always appreciate and love those Bitcoin donations. We thank Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend that makes it happen every single day here on the platform. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time. Same place. Well, maybe not the same time. It might be a little later. Might be 11, might be noon. I don't know. Yeah, I might need a little rest. But same bat channel. Love you all. Go Fins. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't ever give up on our Fins.
This has been the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame show on the Sports Talk 305 network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. From home to kitchen to bathroom additions and remodelings. Get in contact with one of the best contractors in the business. Call Eric at EJDConstruction.com. 305-433-4843. Please subscribe to our platform by searching Big O Radio Show on all digital avenues. On behalf of all our staff, we thank you for supporting us. Have a fantastic week.